Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us for another webinar here on Staffing Hub. My name is Hillary Baker. I'm the Director of Strategic Growth, and I am super excited to welcome you all here today. But before we dive in, I have just a couple of housekeeping items. First, if you have any questions, just drop those into the questions panel in Zoom. And second, we will be sending out a recording of the event, so just keep an eye on your inbox for that. So with that, Rachel, I will pass it over to you to finish up intros.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Hillary, and welcome everyone. Happy Thursday. We are so excited today to talk to you all about Bullhorn automation and staffing referrals. Since everyone's kind of coming in right now, we thought it'd be fun if you want to just pop in the chat like where you're located, because since we are all over the US, I'm here in New Orleans and I was just complaining about my allergies before we jumped on. So I thought it'd be fun if we could all just pop in there where you're from, where you're calling in from, since we're all living in this remote lifestyle now. We'll kick things
Toronto.
off. Go ahead.
I was just saying Boston, Toronto, Michigan,
Montreal, Omaha, Colorado Springs,
my neighbor.
Nationwide.
Look at us, East Coast to West Coast.
You got it.
All right.
All right. Well, we are joined today by an amazing panel, and I'm going to kick it over to everybody to do their own intro. So, Toby, why don't you get this party started and let everyone know who you are?
Yeah, fantastic. I am super excited to be here, guys, and talk about, automation and staffing referrals. But I am Toby Beckman. I'm the Director of Recruiting at Heitmeyer Consulting, banking financial services consulting firm. We're based out of Columbus, Ohio. I sit in Columbus, Ohio, but we support banks across the United States. So happy to see everyone kind of across the country and even outside the country, and looking forward to chatting today.
Awesome. Yeah, we're super excited that you're here. And then Billy, you want to give a quick intro?
Sure. Hey, everyone. Billy Davis here. So I'm at Bullhorn. My current role is I'm on the enterprise customer success team for automation and AI. I've been doing this staffing automation stuff for 9+ years. I came to Bullhorn 4 years ago with the Herefish acquisition. I was the first full-time employee at Herefish. I was a client even before then. So long in the tooth as far as experience goes, and obviously really enjoy seeing clients utilize automation and try to optimize it, get great results, and obviously really excited to talk today.
Awesome. We're so happy that you're here. David?
David Falwell, President and Founder of Staffing Referrals, and really excited to be talking with you guys today about Bullhorn automation, staffing referrals, and Toby, can't wait to hear kind of your stories and your insights into what you've done with Bullhorn automation in our platform.
Awesome. And then without further ado, I am Rachel Arnold, VP of Customer Experience here at Staffing Referrals. I've been in the staffing space for 8.5 years. I came from healthcare staffing and was a former customer of Staffing Referrals before I came to this side of things a little over 2.5 years ago. We will be diving into all of this, and we have a couple of things we're going to cover first. But I want to let you all know, over the next couple of weeks, you will be receiving a referral automation playbook. We are developing that right now, and we'll be sending that out to you. So be on the lookout to get that in your inbox. It'll be a kind of a play-by-play, exactly what you would want to do. All right. So before we really get into things, I thought it was important to let you all know who is Heitmeyer Consulting. So Toby, I'm going to turn it over to you so you can give our audience some background on who Heitmeyer is and how you all came to be where you are currently.
Yeah, absolutely. And like I said, always love talking about Heitmeyer and kind of the growth and the journey and how Staffing Referrals has, helped us out. Kind of tie it back to that. But Heitmeyer, we're coming up on our 25th our anniversary this year, which is pretty crazy. This was kind of a business built by Norm Heitmeyer. That started out himself consulting and using referrals, right? And using his network. So Heitmeyer Consulting at the core was built on referrals. And we're focused in the banking financial services space. We do the true consulting, strategic staff augmentation, and then also direct hire perm placement. We don't geographically located in Ohio, have employees across the US. We have 45 or consultants in 45+ states. And it's been a journey. And we'll get into kind of some numbers here in a little bit, but on a record growth kind of trajectory right now for the past 3 years. And our approach is a little bit different, you know, with our clients, where we kind of sit between the consulting and the staffing kind of business, and you know, use both of those to kind of play off each other, where we do the true, you know, staffing expert, or the true consulting experts, banking experts, and then also kind of the strategic staffing. We implemented Staffing Referrals about 3.5 years ago. Bullhorn automation at the same time, and when we tied those together, it kind of put it on steroids, to say the least, and it's been awesome. So yeah, it's Heitmeyer it's a very fast growing business, and excited to talk more about it today.
Awesome. Yeah, we love your story. We love that Heitmeyer was built on the foundation of referrals. A lot of our customers that have major success with our product also have a similar story. So yeah, we're excited that you're here.
All right. So I'm going to just jump in, and I always think it's fun to kind of understand who's on the webinar with you and what are some of the challenges that everybody's facing today, just to kind of give context. So we just did, when you guys were signing up, just took the results of that. And the majority of you that are here today are in the CXO, CEO, president, CIO, CMO kind of role, followed by managers, VPs, SVPs. The number one challenge that came through for our market still today is getting new biz dev, finding new clients, followed by finding qualified talent, then referrals, productivity, and efficiency. And then one that was kind of funny was a little bit of change management / bureaucracy kind of came through a couple of times, which I haven't seen. The thing that we're going to be talking about today is really going to tie back to productivity and efficiency, and then connecting that into how you can find qualified talent. So it should be relevant for most of you that are here. So with that, one of the things that we've identified as a challenge, and I think this might resonate with all of you as well, is that over the last year, this is a stat, I think this is from SIA, that 34% of staffing agencies experience layoffs. I've seen stats anywhere from 30% up to 50%. It's not my favorite stat to be talking about and sharing, but I think it's relevant because it's a real thing that's happened throughout the industry. It's the reason that biz dev is one of the top priorities for most of you right now, and also productivity and efficiency. Because when you look at what's going on in the world, the thing that we've seen is that we are all sitting in a spot. You can go to the next slide. So that, you know, today's world, we are all expected to get more work done with less resources than we have in the past. And that may be because you have fewer people on your team. It might be because you have higher growth rates. It might simply be because the environment is more challenging than it has been in the past. And with all of that, one of the beautiful things about automation is that it can help solve some of these challenges, and it's why we're here today.
Yep, absolutely. So we're going to talk a little bit about how you can do, you know, more with less. But before we get into that, I have 2 polls that we'll do today. This is going to be the first one. So let me launch this, and hopefully it goes well. You know, this is my first time doing this, so we'll see how it goes. All right. Let's see, it's launched. So I'll give y'all a couple of seconds to take this poll asking how many of you are using automation today. And I'll make that.
I can't vote, so it looks like panelists are barred from voting, but I think you know what my answer would be.
Did you use any
Yeah, I think we
automation?
do.
How many automations have you built, Billy? Do you have a rundown?
Yeah, we don't have time to count that high. Yeah, we need an automation to count that high. I think that's what we need to do.
All right, so let's see. A lot of the results are showing that it's
Great.
kind of across the board. Everybody is, we have some frequent flyers, and then not really, a little, occasionally, and always. So kind of a good mix. Well, I'm glad you guys are here. So let's jump into it. Dave, I'll turn it back over to you to talk through this, and we'll.
Yeah, one of the things that we wanted to talk about is we're going to dig into a handful of playbooks that you guys can use specific to referrals and Bullhorn automation. But when we were having this conversation about what's important today for a staffing agency and like what you should be thinking about, one of the areas that we think it's really important is to kind of step back and think about what are your most profitable activities today? What is your most profitable talent source? And then automate and scale the processes or the sources that are the most profitable to you today. We bring this up because we have a lot of people that will come to us and be like, hey, we don't get any referrals at all, and we don't understand why not. And they're like, but we want to put software into it and automate it. And it's like, we don't want to scale processes that aren't working well. You don't want to scale the things that aren't profitable. And so when you're thinking about what areas in your business to automate and scale, it's important that you think about where you're driving the most profit first, and then focus there so that you'll get the most bang for your buck in a world where we're dealing with less resources.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we spend a lot of time, and I know, Billy, you can totally back me up here, but we spend a lot of time talking to people about like that nobody even really knows where to get started when you're looking at your processes. You're trying to figure out what are the places you can automate, what are the places you can enhance. And really that first step is going to be that you need to take a look at your entire process, like zoom out, see what's going on, and see the different points that maybe you could take something off the recruiter's plate or could allow automation to step in and make it more efficient. And that's kind of the first step, even though it seems like you have to back up a little bit, because you do. You have to back up, look at what's going on, and then start to see what you want to do.
Yeah, that zoomed out kind of high level view. And one of the best places or best ways to do that is to literally put yourself through your own process. You know, like go to your website, sign up, apply to a job, kind of figure out what happens. And you can kind of, throughout the whole journey in the process, you can start to pick up ideas of, where are some opportunities or some things that you could improve.
Yep, absolutely. Okay, before we jump into the playbooks that Heitmeyer used, and we kind of just talk through the bulk of our entire conversation is going to be spent here on this slide, I have my last little poll for you all. So let me stop sharing that one and go back. And let's see, what percentage of your placements are coming from referrals? And it's okay if you don't know. We hear that often.
And it is a question. It is an answer option. So look at that.
Yep. So we'll give it a couple of seconds. See kind of what you all are thinking here. More than 50%. That's amazing. All right.
So always an interesting one.
Let's end this one. So it looks like this one is a little bit more, 0 to 10% so it was sitting at 35% of the people said that. And then about 5 of you said 11 to 25%. 4 of you said 26 to 50. 2 of you said more than 50%. And then 4 of you said, I have no idea.
And while we're jumping into these the specific automations, which Toby and Billy will be digging into, I think one of the things that's important to think about is we asked this question quite a bit. What we're hearing from a lot of the kind of faster growing agencies, companies like Heitmeyer and Toby, is where they're putting an emphasis on saying, all right, we're at 5% of our placements come from referrals today. How do we get to 10? How do we get to 15? And what's that strategy look like for the next 2 to 3 years to make it so that we're becoming less and less dependent on job boards, so that the next time Indeed has a spike in prices and it's twice the cost per hire, you're not being impacted by that as much as you would be, because you've started to build out your own talent community that you can source candidates from directly. So with that, I think it probably makes sense. We can start jumping into the actual meat of it and talk through some of these specific automations.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think a lot of times you have Bullhorn automation, or you have some type of journey that you're building out, and you're thinking, okay, like, where do I even begin? Where do I start? And we talked about like zooming out, putting yourself through the process. But Toby, walk us through a little bit how you guys decided to do these 4 playbooks and what that kind of conversation looked like.
Yeah, absolutely. So, back up a little bit and kind of what I talked about with Heitmeyer Consulting, right? So we're built on referrals. So 3.5 years ago, we started talking about this is, our goal is to take this like kind of white glove approach to each of our consultants. And really, we've built a great reputation in the financial services industry. And with building a great reputation starts to build your network, right? And, Heitmeyer Consulting got known within, our clientele base, but also our consultant base. And then obviously each consultant has their own networks. And we built this network over probably, it's such a deep network of over 100,000 like banking professionals. And we needed an avenue to kind of go fully utilize that network. Prior to staffing referrals, prior to automation, we were simply doing it manually, right? And I think probably a lot of you is that you're getting a resume in your inbox. What do you do with that resume? Do you put it directly into your ATS, CRM? So we needed some way or some platform to kind of better handle this. We actually went down the customization route first and kind of customized the platform or even built our own, and it didn't work out. And then we got introduced to Staff Referrals, to Dave, to Rachel, and it basically has given us a platform to build out this awesome referral network and to hit our deep network of banking professionals and fully utilize it. And then we combined that with Bullhorn automation, and it completely took it to the next level, right? I think that at the point in time when we also implemented this, we were looking at we needed to hire probably 4 to 6 recruiters for all the business that we had. And we understood that we probably weren't going to be able to hire 4 to 6 recruiters and get them up to speed in the amount of time we needed. So looking at our data and what Staff Referrals could bring us, we kind of put almost like 1 to 2 heads or recruiters that basically this could supplement for us. And basically saying, hey, if this helps our recruiters increase their placements by 5 to 10 a year, that's, we had 10 recruiters at the time, or I think it was, or something like that. That's 50 to 60 extra placements a year. So our goal overall was to reach as many people as possible the most efficient way to make our recruiters more productive. And Staffing Referrals and Bullhorn automation combined have, helped us accomplish that. And it continues, the line continues to go up, right? Every single year, we'll see some ROI, things like that. But it's been awesome. We've built automations around simply hitting our network, marketing Staffing Referrals, and also trying to just drive our story out there from any type of, we're paying referrals, we're paying, at any point in time. You don't have to be part of our network. You don't have to, be a consultant of ours. That's the cool thing about this. It's completely taken off. Whereas, we'll go farm our network, and maybe somebody that we come in contact with today, we don't have a place for them, but in 6 to 8 to 10 months, we're calling them back. Right. And then if they're not available, and then we're using that to say, hey, who's in your network? So it's been unbelievable. I was surprised at the numbers. It's been such a cool experience from just kind of partnering these two together and simply setting it up and kind of setting it and forgetting it. And obviously we tweak it here and there a little bit, but it's been really neat to see, and what it is, and the return on it has simply been unbelievable.
Yeah, sure. And Toby, one of the things I think, a lot of people have our software, have Bullhorn automation, and don't realize that you can combine the two, or haven't done that integration, taking those steps. And I think you were took one of the more thoughtful approaches to that, and each of these different playbooks that you've kind of built out. And again, we will be sharing specific, detailed, actionable playbooks in an PDF with you guys in the next couple of weeks. But for now, maybe could you just talk a little bit, or even Bill, you could hop in on the MPS referral, how you've added, how you've used the two combined there, or on the recruiter reminders, because I think you just did, it was cool work.
Yeah. So, I mean, you think about it as a recruiter when you're working, right? And when you're reaching out to people, a lot of times it's who do you know, right? Mm-hmm. We're always asking for referrals, but really we know that you're probably a good fit for the role based on your profile we're seeing. So I think one of the really cool things that we did was we reach out to these people, and we're engaging our network, right? The 100,000 professionals in our current network, is that we were reaching out, hey, who do you know? Who can you refer? But also we were re-engaging with that person as well. So we weren't simply just asking for referrals, and that wasn't our goal. It was also to re-engage with our database, get their contact information updated, get their updated resumes, different things like that. So that drove a lot of interaction, and a lot of, I call it candidates kind of into our recruiters' inboxes, without having to, do much manual labor or, work on this much. And I'll let Billy kind of take over from the automation side of things, but it was really cool. And, kind of what we saw and what we accomplished with that.
Yeah, and I think what I've seen during my time is that's like the NPS automation is a really kind of high value one, and something that you can obviously repeats quite a bit, so it lends itself well to automation. But then also focusing on NPS or gathering that information and then trying to improve it means that you're really concerned about your candidate and client experience. And then of course that works synergistically well with getting referrals. Because if you provide a great experience, if you're asking people who've had a great experience, they're much more apt to give you a referral, to trust you, with a friend, a colleague, a loved one, et cetera, and kind of put their career in your arms. So I think great synergy there, because you're kind of already thinking about that experience standpoint, which will boost your referral numbers.
And specifically, I think on the NPS, what we see customers do is, when you get a promoter, you can then drop in your link to an ambassador dashboard. So you say, hey, thanks so much for the review. If you happen to know anybody, so you can use that to trigger it down that path, and it can be a way to drive more referrals directly from your promoters of your brand.
Yeah, and we use automation too. Like every week, our recruiters get an email automation, an automated email that basically says, "Hey, here are all of your referrals that are in your network," or maybe it's in the last 30 days, last 60 days. It just kind of depends. Depending on how many ambassadors we have, how many candidates that are kind of flowing in. So it's constant reminders, kind of staying top of mind, because referrals are, obviously Heitmeyer built on that. We hold referrals in very high regard, as kind of Billy and Dave referred to, is that like, who do you know? People, they're trustworthy. And we'll dive into numbers here in a little bit. I don't want to kind of steal the surprise there, but it's shown. The ROI has shown for sure.
I love the recruiter reminder thing too, because whenever we were sitting down to talk about playbooks, even my brain got siloed into like, what can we do? Do less with more, or do more with less. I always say it the other way around. I do that. But the recruiters have so much on their plate, and like I can remember being a recruiter and like, I'm like squirrel, like something else to do. And so I love that idea about the recruiter reminders specific for referrals, so that they know those are the people that they need to follow up with, or at least they're like, oh yeah, I was supposed to call them back or tell them something. Just like probing them to remind them to do that. I loved it.
Yeah, we just got a question that came in from Matt asking if you're leveraging this for new client or for candidates. And I can just tell you from overall, from our platform perspective, we are about 90% of what's going on right now is candidate focused. We did launch a client referral program and platform within it last year, a little bit newer. And I think, Toby, I actually don't know if you guys have launched the client side, or if you're 100% focused on candidates.
I think we went down the path of client side a little bit. I think Rachel's met with our director of business development to kind of start that. And then from the candidate side, I will say what we do is that when a new candidate or consultant is entered into Bullhorn, they actually do pop into our automation and our referrals automation. So even though we are working with them currently, we're plugging Staffing Referrals. Hey, who do you know? We like you. We like your profile. We're entering you into our network. So we get them, they're automatically enrolled into our referrals automation, and they get introduced to Staffing Referrals. They get introduced to all of our terms, conditions, all that kind of stuff, and what the program is about. So we're constantly, I always say, kind of plugging Staffing Referrals and our referral network in general, right? To drive that network up, because you never know where your next placement, your next referral is going to come from. We have so many sources that, and this is such a nice way to, again, takes little to no work because of the automation.
Yeah, and we get this question a lot, is like, oh, we have Bullhorn automation. Do we need both? And Obviously I have a concept of how that they tie together, and the ambassador dashboards being important, some of the key components of the talent experience. But Toby, maybe you could talk to that a little bit and how your perspective of why both are important, or how you've used both.
Yeah, absolutely. I would, it's definitely, our network has definitely been built out, both sides, right? So like, just in general, our Bullhorn network, our ATS, the candidates in our network have been built out, but also our ambassadors and referrals coming in. And that wouldn't have happened if we wouldn't have had both. We use the automation. Now, I think we have close to 70 automations right now internally. If that's a lot, I think it's a lot to say the least, but
That's a lot.
Good number. Yeah.
A lot of that though is, a lot of it is like, signature in a sense of, hey, join staffing or join our referral network. We call it the Heitmeyer huddle, is what we do. So all of our automated emails that go out usually say, hey, join our Heitmeyer huddle, join our referral program. All of our signatures, all that kind of stuff, to get people involved in that. And once they do get involved, they can continuously get reminders, right, from Bullhorn automation, from Staffing Referrals has some things as well from an automated thing. But combining the two, I don't think I would be sitting here today talking about our ROI and talking about the great things this has done if we wouldn't have combined the two. Now they're both great platforms on their own, and obviously we don't have 70 automations that are just built on around staffing referrals. Maybe, probably a 10th of those have something to do with staffing referrals, or just driving referrals. But combining the two, I mean, I can't quantify it, but I can tell you there's no way I would be sitting here today talking about this and like the cool stories it has around it if we didn't combine the two and, kind of just try some different new things. So it's been great.
I think with referrals too, when as an organization you make referrals a priority, it's consistency, right? Like consistency is key. That creates more trust and transparency that you like believe in your referral program. And so having it not just be a once a year type of push or once a quarter push, but having it consistently be something that's in emails, on email signatures, in automation, like I think that's really important, so that it allows that message to continuously go on. It's not just like a one-time situation.
Absolutely. And I mean, like the cool story we have, I think one of our first referrals that came through was a very, very niche position that we were struggling to find. Our client was struggling to find. We turned on staff referrals, and 2 days later, we placed the person. And they're actually converted to the client. And now our hiring manager have probably hired 10 to 15 consultants from us in the last
I didn't know the second part of that story. That's
amazing. I forgot about that. I actually looked that up before this. So that person is now a client of ours, and is kind of residual income or residual gross profit revenue for Heitmeyer, which is awesome. And I can tell you, like, we wouldn't find that person without the referral platform.
That's amazing.
And I mean, obviously, like with automation, you could do something as simple as, like find people who've had a good experience, ask them, do they know anybody? And then, get a name or get contact information or something. But kind of what I always recommend clients that like, you want to take that to the next level. You want to be able to see kind of the dashboards, analytics, report off of it, like actually put a program together. That's where like staffing, that's the wheelhouse of staffing referrals. So you can do some elements with automation, but to get it really running, humming, and providing all that ROI, you need kind of the benefits of both.
And I think it's, the majority of our companies that we work with have some form of automation. Majority are Bullhorn automation, but have that in place. And what we really see is this kind of I think Toby, you said earlier, is the steroids, putting the referral program on steroids. So.
Yeah. It looks like we have another question. I definitely want to touch on the like the re-engagement campaign that you guys did, Toby, because I thought that was a really cool opportunity to leverage what was in Bullhorn and then kind of take it to the next level. I was part of the Parka conversation to get that up and running.
Yeah, that was part of, like, we had this, again, vast network, and we're like, how do we hit all these people and make it worthwhile, right? How can they help us? Like, even if maybe they're in a great situation now and they're not looking for a job, but how can they potentially help us? So, or vice versa, right? They're looking for a job right now, so we're re-engaging with them. So it gave us multiple avenues, not just one avenue. Just basically say, hey, are you looking for a job? It was, hey, we'd love to re-engage. Here's a couple things that Heitmeyer has going on, right? And if you're not looking today, you know, who's in your network that's looking? You know, is it your friend? Is it your coworker? Dave alluded to before, you know, companies went through layoffs. Did somebody get laid off that you know, that you can re-engage? So we use the engagement surveys within Bullhorn automation to re-engage with our database. But also at the end of that engagement survey, it was like, hey, you know, do you know anyone else that could, you know, be a good fit for Heitmeyer Consulting and what we're looking for, you know, from a banking financial services perspective, and that drove, you know, more referrals as well.
Yeah, I love that. And we set that up as like a separate campaign too, so we could like measure it from our side and y'all's side, just to kind of see what that was driving, and to tailor the messaging a little bit differently. Yeah, awesome. Well, Billy, from your perspective, like whenever you are talking, because I talk to customers all the time, and they do say, they're like, oh, it feels like I don't know where to begin. And then to me, I'm like, I could go down the rabbit hole all the way down and go all the way back up. What do you recommend to people as they are looking at, you know, where to kind of start plugging different automations in that would make sense?
Yeah, kind of my best piece of advice on where to start is to start where your data is the kind of the best and you have the most confidence with it. And that's typically at the back end of the process with placements. Because with placements, you have to have data in a good spot to get paid or to pay people. So it ends up being kind of the best data quality. And obviously that lends itself well to a kind of referral lens, because place candidates, right, are going to be able to give you some really nice qualified referrals, likely, and kind of be a great source for that. So kind of starting on that end, I think is great. I mean, there's so many angles you can use with automation. That's kind of the great part about it, but it also can be a little bit daunting. So I always recommend people to kind of break things down into small, manageable chunks as well, so that you're not trying to do 70 automations, you know, in your first week of automating, or 100 in your first, you know, like focus on one or two and then get those into a good spot, then move on to the next, then the next. And then you do that enough, you put enough of those blocks together, then all of a sudden you have 30, 40, 50, 60, it starts to build and compound. And that's really kind of where the true magic happens.
Yeah. So true. I love that.
And I don't want people to say like this, it seems overwhelming. It's not. I will tell people that. Obviously, so like some of our automations are simply just a one automation email, right? Just, you know, an introduction to Heitmeyer, or an introduction to, you know, being part of our network, or, you know, something along those lines. We use Bullhorn automation to re-engage with our current active consultants on a regular basis. You know, that was one of the areas that we found, you know, was kind of like you know, like taking up a lot of time, you know, from all of our current consultants. So how do we re-engage with them? By, you know, just email, staying in touch. And obviously every one of those emails had a link to our referrals page. So there's just like small things you can do that, like, you're not even like saying, hey, join us for our referral program, specific in the email, that you can easily put a link to it. And any communication that we have, you get an email from me, it's in my signature, it says join our referral program. You know, so that was, you know, multiple ways we can do this. And the cool thing is like, I thought was really neat was like every single one of our recruiters has a separate link. So like when the automation goes out, and like Toby Beckman owns that, in a sense, ownership, right, of that candidate, it looks like it comes from me. And then if they would refer somebody or want to, my link is the one showing up. Now, if it's recruiter B, and then like, it's kind of the same way. So like, it's very manageable as well from my perspective. And then like the dashboards, things like that too. So kind of going off on a different route here, but it's just, I can't speak, you know, highly about it enough, and, you know, how much it's helped us in general.
Yeah, and I think for all of you that are on the webinar today, trying to figure out where a thing you can do to drive more referrals, you know, adding the PS. This is something that you did, like whether it's a PS, but like throughout all of your email communication, you can frequently be like, PS, if you happen to know anybody that's looking for a job, we have this great referral program. And, you know, the V1, if you don't have staffing referrals today, you can have it drive to a form. If you want to take it to the next level and get more, you know, kind of scale it, you can actually drive it to our ambassador dashboards where people get their unique link that they can then go share online. But I think that is a common way and a thing that you can just add. So you're just getting a little incremental bump on referrals across all of your automations. And so it's not, you know, having specific referral automation for every single component, but more of adding it in and layering it into the messaging throughout.
Yeah,
and it's also something where it's a soft ask, right? So that's not the only reason for the communication. It's just kind of a nice subtle call to action and almost just reminding people that this exists. And then you're staying kind of top of mind so that you keep that plug, you keep that reminder there so that if the person, you know, they meet somebody that says they're looking for a job, or they see somebody like unhappy in theirs, right? It's all of a sudden it comes back to their memory a lot quicker.
Yeah, and we talk a lot about like referable moments. And one of the things if you think about it, is like, if you get asked if you just talked to a friend this morning who said, I'm looking for a new job, and then you happen to see this, then all of a sudden you're like, oh, I've got that link, I can go refer them right now. And a lot of times, you know, you ask and it's not top of mind. So it's just kind of keeping it, as you're saying, Billy, just to double down on that. I think it's that keeping it top of mind and making sure you have easy access to refer people when it makes sense.
Yeah, and consistency.
Yep.
Okay, well, like we mentioned, we're going to be giving you all playbooks with like step-by-step guides on how to really like set this up and ideas. This is really to get your brain juices going, and maybe you're going to take it and run with it, but we will be giving you that. I want to share Heitmeyer's results with the Bullhorn automation and staffing referrals steroids, what we're calling it. It sounds like
We're selling steroids.
it's our side business now. So I'll let you kind of talk through this since this is y'all's results. So like give us the rundown on like what you have felt and experienced from the success with Bullhorn automation and staffing referrals.
Absolutely. You know, take a quick step back. So Heitmeyer's been on the Inc. 5, the Inc. 5000 list. You know what that is? It's the fastest growing private companies in America for the last 3 years. And we've achieved a 3-year growth rate of a 279%, which has been awesome. And you know, sitting in my desk, we're in the recruiting team, being able to implement and to use all this new software, these cool tools, has been a really cool experience for myself. And that growth rate is really neat, you know, to see. Obviously, when you're in it day to day, you don't realize it, but then you take a step back. It was pretty cool. And when I talked to Dave and Rachel and Billy about this kind of preparing, I realized these numbers, but you know, I didn't really ever look at them all together on paper. So over 1,700 ambassadors that you know currently are referring people to Heitmeyer today. The two pieces I thought were really neat were one, referrals through or a placement through staffing referrals or referral. We are seeing 5 more months or plus 5 months in increase in contract length from a referral placement, which is unbelievable, right? So that's a really cool, you know, stat for us. And then obviously that's going to come with the GP as well, the gross profit, and we're seeing $29,000 to $30,000 more in gross profit, an increase per placement from a referral. You know, so back to kind of what Dave said before, right? People trust referrals more, you know, and I think we all probably trust referrals more when it's a good working consultant for us or someone that we, you know, it's in our network that we really trust. We get a referral from them. They seem to work out, do a really good job. You know, so our ROI can kind of speak for itself here. And in what we see. And again, I don't think we would see these numbers and see this growth, you know, without taking Bullhorn automation and staff referrals and tying them together. You know, I think there would have been some cool stories to tell, but not as many. Really need to live this, really need to kind of, you know, review this and kind of sit back and see, you know, what the numbers show over the course of the last 3 to 3.5 years. You know, from when we've signed up with staff referrals and Bullhorn automation.
And Toby, the 29K increase in GP per placement blew my mind when I saw that. This is something that, you know, for those of you that are listening here, that one of the things we're having a lot of conversations around is looking at your candidate lifetime value, at your profitability by the source of talent. We're starting to look at like, what's the contract length of a referral versus an Indeed or another, job source. What's the actual redeployment rate, and starting to dig more into that data so that you can kind of identify what the value of it is. And Toby, these stats blew it out of the water for when we asked you about it. You pulled it back, it was even better than I anticipated. We are seeing, across multiple customers that it typically is like a 30% increase in time on contract, up to, I think the top we've got is a 3x increase, but these numbers were pretty incredible to share.
Yeah. And this is something like I've shared with my internal team as well. Because I don't think none of us have really, we've noticed that it's better, right? But I don't think we've realized these numbers. This is going to drive us even more to like, hey, what else can we do? Hey, Billy, what else can we do? Hey, Rachel, what else can we do? Hey, Dave, what else can we do to drive more referrals? What have you been hearing from different clients, right? How can we help as well? Because like I think that this obviously shows that the referral network and bringing referrals in, is almost like 1.75 to almost 2x placement when you place a referral.
Yeah.
And we've even had companies that are like, oh, I don't know about the referral bonuses are high. I don't know if I want to pay out more referral bonuses. But I think when you peel back that onion and look at the actual data, it's almost always worth it and some. So which is really, really cool to dig into.
And this is the kind of data too you want to share with your team. Like, you don't want to just keep this for like upper level managers. Like, you want your team to know that referrals have this type of an impact, and like automation has this type of an impact on your business. Because sometimes I feel like as recruiters, like change is hard and automation feels like they lose that autonomy. But like, showing them like, look at what it's doing for your business. And right, you didn't have to send that email. You didn't have to send that text. Look at what's going out behind the scenes. It helps them to understand the impact that it really does have on the business. So then they're more like, oh, well, wait, do some more things like that, right? Like, get more into it.
Yeah, they're bought in, and they want to drive referrals. They're driving it. They're getting into staff referrals. Hey, who are my referrals? What's my network look like? That's like the first part, or the first place we're sourcing candidates from. And everything's driving back to Bullhorn, all the integrations. So all of our candidates land in Bullhorn, so they're easily searchable. So it just makes it overall a very seamless process for us, and a very efficient process for us, where I can go search this network, our network of ambassadors and consultants, in less than 5 minutes. So
yeah, powerful. All right.
Yeah,
well,
one thing I just want to quickly add, in my staffing experience is kind of a little bit different staffing niche, but more kind of light industrial. But we also saw an increase in retention, and kind of contract placement and kind of length from a referral standpoint. And we digged into some responses and things, and it literally just came down to the person knowing somebody there, right? So like, the person got referred by somebody, they knew who they were, and they were just that much more likely to stay, grit it out, or, if there was a problem, try to work it out, just because they knew somebody, they didn't want to let them down, and that kind of consideration. So I know staffing referrals obviously works in a bunch of different niches.
Yeah, light industrial, healthcare, accounting, finance, IT tend to be the main areas. Executive search, probably more horsepower than you need, but outside of that, it's pretty good. So.
All right. Well, we had like that one question that came up. I don't know if there's any other questions, comments that anybody that is an attendee wants to ask all of us while we're together, and you have this all-star celebrity lineup of people. But otherwise, we will be sending out that the playbook, so that you have some guides on how to really set this up, and then know that we are all always available to help kind of guide you and help problem solve.
Go watch Build with Billy. I'll give you a plug there. I love it.
There you go.
Totally. So much good content, even just on your LinkedIn, like what you post,
Appreciate it.
Okay, we have one. How exciting. This is from, let's see, what do you do after receiving the referral from the engagement? What did you do after receiving the referral from the engagement? Like a re-engagement? Answer this live.
I think probably like what's the process after you get the referral, right? So what's the way? And hopefully the answer is you reach out to them, right?
Yeah.
Because that's probably
Our
step one. But Toby, I'd love to hear, yeah,
Yeah.
what you guys do from a
So
process standpoint.
I would say it's not a written rule, but kind of an unsaid rule is that we want to, if we're doing a re-engagement from Bullhorn Automation, referral, not a referral, we want to reach out to that person within the 48 business hours. So basically 2 days. If that's an email, a text message, a phone call, or simply sending them a Calendly link to say, hey, set up time on my calendar, love to talk to you. Because they want to re-engage with you. We want to capture that as quickly as possible and have some urgency around it. So anybody that comes through from our re-engagements from and a referral, we try to get in front of them within 48 hours, some way, somehow, or at least communicate with them or contact them to get them set up on calendar or just have a quick conversation with them.
Yeah, that's a good point. If you're building out a re-engagement campaign, you can, even build out automation to what goes out if somebody replies. I think a really good idea is to direct them to a calendar and have them try to book time with a recruiter. Just let's get them on the phone. And then referrals in general, kind of the best practice there is, to Toby's point, to call them as quickly as possible, right? You want them, if they're being referred to you, the person that referred them trust in your company, they trust in the recruiter, and you want them, the referral, to have the same experience that the person that referred them has had.
And part of our automated messaging to them is a calendar link to set up time on our calendars.
Amazing.
So the referral also has that that opportunity as well to set up time on our calendars to book time to talk to us for 15-20 minutes, and us meeting one of the recruiters on the team, to engage with us immediately as well.
Yeah, and one common thread, I mean, Toby, you nailed it earlier. You said the white glove treatment. We've heard that from all of, consistently with customers that kill it on referrals. They're saying white glove treatment, and they are quick follow-up, asking them, what they're interested in simultaneously. And we have some automation built into our platform for this, but it's also something you should consider is making sure that you're really thanking the people that referred them to you, and building a strong relationship with that ambassador network. Customers that are getting the most out of their referral programs, the stories we hear from recruiters are they are really heavily focused on every time they get a referral, sending thank you. Sometimes even if it doesn't get placed, they're sending out a gift card anyways, just to say thanks for sending that over. Especially if they get like 2 or 3 referrals from a person, but they don't get on assignment. It's like, you know what, you didn't make it through the full term, but we want to give you a gift card, and I really appreciate that. And if you think about it, these are essentially, commission only recruiters or affiliate marketing partners that are out there helping to build your brand, and they're people that believe in you and believe in your agency. So really, making sure that you're making them feel good about the experience is a key component of driving your referral program overall.
Yeah.
Yeah, good point.
Awesome.
Okay, well, that was the only question.
That's
Awesome. Easy, you got it. And like we said, if you need anything, don't hesitate to reach out. Thanks so much for everybody who joined, and be on the lookout for the referral automation playbooks coming your way.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. Thanks, Toby. Thanks, Billy.
Yep.
Thanks, everybody.
Y'all have
Thanks,
a great
everyone.
day.
Have a great day.
Bye.